Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like you have not had a cup of tea. Let me try once again. Good afternoon, everyone.
Password edit, type in text.
Okay, now I know you're there. So my name is Asif. I am an associate director of PwC, and basically, I've been watching the presentation for past few hours, and it's been exciting, fascinating. Some I could understand, some I could not. And I've been working on the smart city, but just to let you know that I cannot see. I have lost my eyesight at the age of 16 years old, but I work with the help of technology on my laptop and cell phone.
Start.
Just 1 second.
Start. Enter, sign dash in options link, welcome.
Okay.
At 5:40 p.m.
So, I was personally involved in designing in the smart city space and integrating digital inclusion. We've been listening to the IoTs, discussion on the artificial intelligence, GIS, but I would have to say that I'm the real user of that. So I have worked, just imagine yourself in a situation, if you're living in a smart city, you're designing a mobile app and a web portal and the ERP applications, where all the data flow can be monitored, governed, overseas through an integrated central command centers. The same case was in Naya Raipur Development Authority, where I have personally worked. Imagine the situations if there is a fire and if the resident is a hearing impaired, and he has to call 112, which is an emergency number which integrates fire, ambulance, and other medical emergencies. But we have, when this project was conceived, there was the interface of the citizens of living in that city to have an emergency call center just like in line with 911 in the US. But how would a hearing impaired would actually work on that? So we have worked with the authorities, city authorities, we were the program management unit, and we got the system integrators to write a special script called Universal Design, which we talked about in the European standards, as well as WCAG Level AA standard, which is the digital access, universal standards, which means that this device or the sensors or the applications, the mobile app, web portals which we are going to be used, it can also be accessed by citizens with disability.
Slide 2, agenda, full digital inclusion and inclusion.
I will not take the whole part in the interest of the time, but I really want you to see who am I, and then before I get into a live case study where I have been involved in making the smart cities living and accessible for everyone.
Slide 3.
Mohammed Asif Iqbal could not see well from birth. He turned completely blind at the age of 16. But he is one such person who believes that the only disability a person can have is a bad attitude. He received his earlier education in the United States and went on to learn how to use a computer through voice-activated software. He became the first blind commerce graduate from St. Xavier's College, Calcutta, and then the first blind MBA in HR from Symbiosis, Pune. Not only did he help himself, but was instrumental in creating reservation quota for disabled across IIMs, IITs, and all government universities in India. Presently, he is the senior manager at PwC India. In his 13-year span career, he had designed and implemented social inclusion strategy for Aadhaar, accessible income tax, accessible telecom under TRI, etc. And in order to promote this digital inclusion agenda, he has met former President of India, late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, and various other eminent personalities. He has also been appointed as the digital inclusion expert for Smart City project under the Government of India. With the mission to empower the disabled technologically, he has given lectures regarding its diversity and inclusion at CII, National HRD Network, Society for Human Resource Management, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ASSOCHAM and NASSCOM. He is honored with various awards such as the National Award, West Bengal State Role Model Award, Extraordinary Citizen of Kolkata Award, etc. Recently, he delivered a TED Talk on winning solution for disabled. Last year, he ran 3 5-kilometer marathons and is presently training to take part in the next 10-kilometer marathon. He would like to ignite minds of the youth and influence their thought process of being inclusive in their workforce along with the universal design of products and services. He looks forward in contributing to the nation building and exploring partnership for collaborations to take his mission of strong inclusive India, which offers opportunity for all.
Okay, in the interest of time, I'll just skip. Another video I wanted to show you is how technology works, which can be integrated in this integrated command central systems and the e-governance and various. There is a role of AI, there is a role of IoTs and Hi, my name is Mohammed, Asif, Iqbal. I'm a blind PwC professional working for PwC India as a senior manager in the advisory practices. I lost my eyesight at the age of 16, but nevertheless, I became the first blind commerce graduate from St. Javiers College, Calcutta, first one to do an MBA HR, and was instrumental in creating reservation quota for the disabled across IIMs and IITs and all government-aided Indian universities and colleges. Today, I'd like to demonstrate the power of screen reader, which is an assistive technology. And I'm just using a normal laptop, and the only thing different, it's equipped with the screen readers, and I'd like to demonstrate the power and as well as the challenges. So,
4:33 p.m. Alt tab, power of ordinary people. Alt tab, snapshot Mohammed Asif. Snap. Alt space, menu, system X, leaving menus, edit.
So now this actually, it's reading it out and it can be customized. So it's a Microsoft Word applications. And of course, now let me go back to the Internet Explorer. And
enter Internet Explorer.
And
page, blank page.
It works really beautifully.
Home, Google Finance, Google G. Enter, leaving menus, new tab page, address and search using bin edit, about blank, Alt+D.
As I'm scheduled to deliver a session at Global Conference in Cyberspace, so I'm just...
Search edit. Enter, region search edit, GCCS 2017, GCCS 2017.
It tells me everything, and yes, it's speaking fast, but the voice can be customized. While this gets loaded, let me just show it to you how I work on an email.
Snapshot Mohammed Asif, Alt tab, Global Conference, Alt tab, Power of Ordinary, Alt tab, Inbox dash Outlook, data file dash Outlook.
Okay, let me just send a quick mail.
Control N, untitled dash message left, L, Asnias tab, L, tab, PR underline Verma tab, PR underline tab, subject edit, Alt+U, PRESENTATION, present A, T at, GCCS, GCCS 2017, 2017, tab, message edit, thin, POSAIBLE, possible, enter.
Okay, so
Inbox dash Outlook.
I have sent an email, it reads out emails. Now I would like to highlight the challenges part of it. Like sometimes it has a visual capture, which is not possible. Then here if I have to book a ticket, so sometimes the calendars can only be navigated through the mouse and not a keyboard. And that's a big challenge. Okay, now here I'm not able to put this in because it only allows the keyboard. So this is the big challenge that it has. It would be really a frustrating experience to ask someone to help me out. This worked really well on the Excel sheet. So it tells you exactly which row you are on, which reference you are in, right? And I do not use a mouse, I use a keyboard. Where it is a challenge is it does not read the graphics or the components, but it...
Slide 4, Governor Award. Slide 5, National Award, DSC underline.
Now I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a perfect example of universal access. An iPhone or high-end Android, which is made for everyone. And people like us who cannot see can actually use it out of the self. And I'd just like to demonstrate. even though it's a touch thing. So wherever I put my finger on it, it will,
Maps.
it says map,
Weather.
weather,
iBooks.
iBook, clock,
App Store. Home.
home,
Health.
health.
People.
There are accessible apps and inaccessible. If you do not design with an access in mind, it will not be able to use by persons with disability. Let me quickly show you how. Okay, now I'd like to show you how I use the camera.
This
is the role of
And
I'm AI
just gonna take a
integrated in
picture.
this.
View font. One face. Take a picture.
One face told me and I have taken the picture. Now I'd like to demonstrate the sophisticated app which is designed for blind and visually impaired. It's called KNFV Reader. So how do I access a hard copy?
Health.
Let me just show you.
LinkedIn. Home. KNFB Reader.
So I have launched an app and now
File Explorer.
I need to know how whether my camera is accessing the entire document or not.
File Explorer. Setting. Camera. Tilt row degrees.
The right edge, top edge, it's read. So the picture should come forward.
Take
So
picture.
take picture. Now
Play.
it has entirely reading there and I can save it, I can do whatever I please. So this is the power of technology which makes things possible. For most of you, it makes things easy. For people like us, it makes things possible. Thank you. Right. And
Slide 5. Digit.
yes. Thank you. So what I was trying to drive at, that this system was not particularly designed for me. It was designed for everyone, and I being a resident, I being a proud citizen, I was also able to use it with ease.
Slide 5.
And I'm not talking about that this only affects blind and low visions. World Bank estimates that world is home to 1 billion people with disability, and all across disability.
Slide 6. Types of user.
Audio, please.
Slide 6. Slide 7. Assistive text. Slide 7.
Okay.
Slide 8. Universal design. Design.
So all of you, the startups, the technology guys are extremely smart, much more technical depth knowledge than me. In appealing you earnestly to think of us, all of us, when you are designing a solutions, whether it is IoT, whether it is any features of smart cities. But remember, smart cities for is everyone. Otherwise, technology has no role. It fails miserably.
Bullet instead of targeting to create special solution. Slide 9. Why integrating inclusion.
I have just given you the data. I don't want to read it again. And because, remember, everyone is getting old as the days go by. And you might be potential user of this technology which is being integrated. So think of all of us sitting out in this room.
Slide 10. Rights of Persons with Disability Act 20 Disability.
And not only that, now we have even a mandate in legal rights. It's called Rights of Persons with Disability Act, which actually clearly mandates that every solutions which you provide publicly has to be accessible. When I say accessible, that people with disability can use it with ease, whether it is smart city, whether it is an e-governance portal, whether it is a public infrastructures, yes, it has to be made accessible, just like how we have regulations in Europe and the US and the Australia and the developed nations.
Bullet mandatory conformant. Bullet gov. Slide 11. Government regulations /
This is the couple of regulations which has just came out of all of you who have been a consultant or playing some kind of a role as of smart cities. There is an advisory note which was issued last year after my interventions, and thanks to Additional Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development, they issued that all ICT components of smart cities has to be mandatory digitally inclusive. That means the person with disability, for all across disability, can actually access with ease. Can you believe that I met 2 state secretaries of a large state like Karnataka and Maharashtra, and they didn't know what assistive technology was. But fortunately, I've been able to influence them, and they actually issued a government regulations mandating that all ICT projects undertaken by government of Maharashtra has to be digitally accessible. In that
advisory note map.
And now, thanks to the revised Rights of Persons with Disability Act, which itself enforced that it has to be mandating. So standards, what we are talking about. So for all of those, the startup, I was listening to them, one city, one app. Why don't you ensure that they actually cater to digital inclusion standard called WCAG or the European standard EN 301549, which means that your products, your mobile app, web portal, ERP applications, web applications, has to be equal access, which means people like us can also use it with ease.
Slide 12, case study in digital.
Here, when we were working with Naya Raipur development authorities, so we were a program manager from PwC, and I had a mandate to ensure implementation of digital inclusions. Previously, the system integrators, they were absolutely reluctant because they always loved to do, and it's not their fault because of their economy of scale, and unfortunately, they believe in replicating the solutions which they have been earlier using it here, but unfortunately, that replication of solution will not be possible to integrate digital inclusions, because if you can integrate inclusion in the design phase, it's much more cost effective rather than retrofitting it. So we were firm, PwC was firm, the client was firm, issues was raised, even though they had a great of intentions, but whenever it came on the list of tasks, it was always at the lower or the bottom list of their priority list. But eventually, together, thanks to our client and thanks to PwC, we were firm and we actually got them to do it, and it's now the system has actually gone live. We also worked in multi-purpose smart cards, another payment utility for payment, even for payment for auto rickshaw ride. So that we make sure that the digital inclusions were integrated in the app, the portal, and the internal application systems. So we, as we speak, we are integrating all this in the new projects, wherever PwC and wherever I'm involved, so we had. But again, earnesting is not me or PwC. It's asking all of you to think of us whenever you are designing new projects.
Slide 13, Smart City for All, payment.
These are some of the case studies. Imagine if I live in a smart cities and I'm not able to pay municipality taxes or water taxes or the electricity, which I'm not able to do it today because of the CAPTCHA, right? Imagine if I was being harassed by government officials and I'm not able to launch a grievance using my mobile app or a web portal. What is that good that it actually excludes me to do that?
Slide 14, Smart City for All, online services and citizen engagement initiatives.
Now, governments around the cities, around various states, we have seen an active interactions between citizens and the government. Imagine if you design a system and you do not allow me to actually use that system with ease, then actually it's not hearing my voices, or rather 120 millions of voices are not being heard, with the whole purpose that this is to listen to the customers.
Slide 15, Smart City for All, transport will enable them to act.
Some of the case studies which we have seen in live, even in Pune, that the bus schedules or things currently was not, then we were working with the authorities there and trying to appeal them to make an accessible version of mobile app, because it makes the job today. Thanks to the accessible integration, I'm able to use services like Uber to book a ride independently. But however, sadly, I'm not able to add money to the Paytm because it's not thought of in that perspective.
Slide 16, barriers in accessing public accessing.
This is some of the barriers which that video talked about, so I'm now going to.
Slide 17, way forward and next steps for AND.
So whenever you think of all, think everyone, think of those two standards. I would love to help each one of you.
Slide 18, commitment to inclusion. Can we all pledge?
And I hope I have influenced your thought process to be inclusive. Did I? Yes. Brilliant.
Slide 19, I'm back.
I'm always available. Thank you. Let's design inclusive and smart India. Thank you.